Jeffrey, we got a problem. One of the main tenets of your religion is that there is no empirical evidence. One of the problems that people have with various religions is that they say that their religion is the one true religion, this is the one true faith, the one truth, as is atheism, and atheism, like many of the others, has certain tenements that appear to be contrary to reality. And one of these core tenements is that believers have yet to provide any empirical evidence, that there is no empirical evidence. So I would like to go ahead and bust that up by presenting 4 points of empirical evidence. Now, this empirical evidence does not necessarily prove, but does seem to suggest the existence of an overmind, a God, if you will, an omnipotent creator, a spirit realm, all of the things that your religion denies. The big, the small, the living, and the secret. The small being electrons within the double split experiment. This is verified science, which is in regards to electrons, how the act of observing them changes their behavior. Now, they behave like waves and they behave like particles. But are they waves or are they particles? Now, when we observe them, they stop acting like waves and begin to act as particles. Now, this act of observation has changed them, and scientists themselves have said that it almost seems as if the atoms are aware that they are being watched. And if that doesn't suggest to you an overmind, a way, a spiritual construct, I don't know what you're looking for, but that's one piece. Another piece I would say would be the existence of dark matter. Scientists seem to have come to the I wouldn't say a conclusion, but there's a school of thought. I mean, scientists are finding that the majority of the matter in the known universe is what they call dark matter. They can't see it, they can't touch it, they don't know the elements, all they know is that it's there. They're not sure how it interacts with matter, they just know that it's there. So that is the big. The small, the big, and living. The living would be probably the thing that separates man from the animal, is their genetic inclination towards developing various spiritual constructs. Then, since they do not know it is there, they can only take guesses at it. You have Aleister Crowley, you have the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, which I highly recommend to all you Christians as well. You have Christian teachings, you have Muslim teachings. And for some reason, these various teachings have provided humans with something that is very, very, very important to them that cannot be taken from them. I would say that atheism, as a religion, probably stands the weakest among these religions, whereas all of these religions provide them with something that can never be taken from them. Atheism has been observed by others to be quickly removed from the atheist. Now, your particular case may be different, but it has been observed, and then it is even, and they even talk about it repeatedly in Rick and Morty, that every time Rick or the atheist is brought into direct danger when his life is about to end, he reaches out and calls to God in a state of fear. I know that many atheists have argued that this is merely a survival instinct, but why is this a survival instinct of humans specifically? If there was no God, why would we turn to a God? Why would we turn to prayer of some sort or another in these times? Now, my faith and my love and my kinship and my fellowship and communion with God can never be taken from me. This cannot be said of atheism. Now, some atheists, maybe on your final moments, you will decree otherwise, but as for me, you're not taking it from me. And that seems to be pretty well established now. Oftentimes people have crisis of faith when, certain aspects of these various schools of these various religions don't make sense, or something's contradictory. Atheism is not unique in that, and there is a crisis of faith, and it's okay to have questions. It's okay to wonder. It's okay to read your Bible and read something and go, I don't think that makes sense. For example, Noah. Now, there has been evidence of a great flood. However, the idea of a man building a giant boat and putting 2 of every species within the boat in order so that when the flood is over to propagate that, it may have been an allegory for something else, but the logistics of that do not make sense. And it's a good thing. It's not particularly a bad thing to, question your faith, and not so much your faith, but what exactly it is that you believe. But just so long as you believe in something. So those are 3 points of empirical, observable, scientific evidence. The last one, the secret, well, that's a secret. It's confidential. It's between me and God. I prayed about it. I asked for it. And I seen it in the vision. The details are confidential. And I don't have, just as God has no obligation to prove himself to you, I have no obligation to show you my notes. Suffice it to say, these were 2 distinct, complex, self-containing geometric forms that worked in tandem with each other. They were a bit beyond my comprehension. I'm not sure how exactly it works, but I asked and I received. God does not reveal himself to the non-believer. If you are not looking for God, you will not find God. If you are if you do not knock, the door will not be answered. But I seen it. Now, unless you would like to bring me to the counsel of a highly trained mathematician, I may be more inclined to divulge, but for the time being, it's a secret. And it ain't for you to see. you know. But it's not something I'm making up. I swear to the God that I believe in that I've seen it, and it came to me in a vision, and that the details thereof are confidential, only to be divulged by those that I deem worthy to be divulged to. So there's your, empirical evidence right there. And I could probably do some more digging and keep going, but just even the one contradicts that there is none. But there's four, and the last one is mine, and that's a secret. So when an atheist is to tell you that there is zero empirical evidence, and that's a lie, or either a lie, maybe perhaps not a lie, but a misconception. The atheist would say, why should we have blind faith? I would say not so much to have blind faith, but to have faith. I'm not saying to follow anybody blindly down off a cliff, but to have faith in something, because we have faith every day. I have faith that the earth is round. Society tells me the earth is round. It makes sense that the earth is round. People in positions of academic authority seem to think it's round. The only way I can know beyond any shadow of a doubt that it is round is if I am taken up there myself physically. But I don't need to do that. I have faith. The atheist has faith. The atheist has faith that there is no God, there is no afterlife, there is no soul, and when you pass from this form, that is it. And that is what they believe in, and they have faith in that. Faith is not so much believing in something without any empirical evidence at all whatsoever, but it is believing something without proof. And it is pretty cumbersome to say that we have to know everything beyond any shadow of a doubt in order to believe it, because that's not a belief, that's knowing. And the thing is this inner knowing, is something that seems to prevail amongst men and women alike. So there's your empirical evidence. And I'll see you in the next video.